So recently, Boss released a new line of polyphonic pitch shifting pedals. Sorry to disappoint you, but I do not have those pedals today. But what I do have is a Line 6 Helix, and that Helix has a really solid polyphonic pitch shifting effect already built in. And to be honest with you, I never really use it. I've used it a handful of times, primarily if I'm playing in standard tuning. I'll drop it like 4 semitones to get that 7-string effect, but aside from that, I've never really used it in any practical application. So with the resurgence of these polyphonic effects coming out, I wanted to see how good pitch shifting is already. And it's an important question for me because I tune all of my guitars to a half step down. It's called E standard for a reason. So if I go to jam with people, most of the time, I'm gonna be tuned down a half step. And I know it's not the end of the world to tune up your guitar a half step. I've done it many times, but it would also be really nice if I could just throw that pitch shifting effect into my chain and forget about it. You know, I don't have to touch the guitar, it doesn't have to affect the setup or anything like that. So the question I want to answer today is whether or not polyphonic pitch shifting is good enough for live use. Is it good enough for studio use? Is it good enough for just playing at home and having fun? These are all completely different applications, and the requirements are different, right? I mean, if there's any warbling or artifacts from the polyphonic pitch shifting, that's okay at home. That's okay jamming with buddies. It may or may not be okay if you're out playing at a bar, and it's probably not okay if you are recording with it. I'm going to take this Telecaster that's currently tuned to E flat, and I'll use that poly effect to pitch it up 1/2 step and then down 1/2 step to simulate E standard and then D standard. And I'll also tune this up to E standard and then down to D standard to give you some side-by-side clips to see how the poly effect sounds compared to actually tuning the guitar up or down. So take a listen. Let's see how the poly effect compares to actually tuning guitar up and down. So I'll be sure to play in a couple different styles. And the first one will be just a clean sound with some open strings, which I feel will be the most difficult for the polyphonic pitch shifting to accurately do. But we'll see. And then the next one will be a little bit edge of breakup, just simple G pentatonic and bluesy stuff. And then I'll go a little bit higher gain, kind of like a punk rocky type sound. Stick around, take a listen, let me know what you think in the comments. Is polyphonic pitch shifting good enough today? Have you played the Boss pedals? Have you compared it to like the Digitech Drop or the EHX Pitchfork or the Helix? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Until next time.